Speaker, and I thank both sides for the opportunity to bring this up today. I move that this House, A, notes the findings of the 73rd report of the Statutory Authorities Review Committee regarding the systematic misconduct, bullying and failure of duty of care within the Sheriff's Office under the State Courts Administrative Authority. B, acknowledges the lived experience of whistleblowers and public servants who have been constructively dismissed, denied work cover, entitlements and excluded from public employment. C, calls on the Attorney-General to table a response to these findings and explain why departmental and oversight agencies, including ICAC and the Ombudsman SA, have failed to act. D, urges the state government to review all redemption settlements offered to public servants following complaints of misconduct or psychological injury within the court's authority. And also E, recommends the government consider ex gratia compensation and reinstate support for those who still need it. Madam Chairman, today I would like to move... Is that right? Today I would like to move that this motion, which has come from the Statutory Authorities Review Committee, which was formed some time ago due to the reports of mistreatment of court staff, in particular the Sheriff's Office. I was very instrumental in establishing this select committee, and prior to the committee being formed, I had numerous meetings with sheriffs who were employed by the court's authority at the time, and also were previously employed sheriffs who were terminated, even though those involved were not given the opportunity to respond. From discussions that were undertaken and the everlasting impacts on the health and well-being of those people who were involved in the treatment by the management of the various courts authorities across the whole of the state was very heartbreaking indeed. Some, or I must admit, several staff of that time were either dismissed or suffered health and well-being conditions which may result or still being suffered from at this particular day. During the discussions with these sheriffs and also with those who have been dismissed by the authorities meant that they were not adequately treated both mentally and financially, with many still, to my information, still not having their rightful compensation or consideration taken into account. As is stated in my motion, there are several whistleblowers who have brought issues before their relevant managers, only to be treated with contempt. Those people involved in bringing these concerns to the management thought that they were doing it with the endeavouring to rectify some of the bad behaviour that had been going on for some time into the court's authority in the Sheriff's Office. However, they were the ones who were dealt severely and harshly, and with the behaviour issues not even being addressed. There are many who have, since they had these issues, tried to gain employment in the public sector, only to be able to reach the final selection, then be denied the position, but to my information, they were not and still have not received any credible explanation, even for those who may have been employed in the sector previously and to have all the relevant credentials and experience. From the discussions held prior to the committee reaching their recommendations, some of the court's authorities management who were part of the reasons for this committee to investigate, those people have retained their positions, and in several occasions, to my information, some of these managers have been even promoted to higher positions in other government departments. For those who were employed at the time and previously dismissed or not have been able to get employment within the court system, this is a very hard position to comprehend, to let alone accept. Those who have lost their positions, mainly due to coming forward to make public the unsatisfactory treatment of the employees at the time by those in management who, in their opinions, were doing the correct thing by bringing their concerns and the behavioural issues to the management. Only, as I said a minute earlier, only to be dismissed and then harshly basically thrown to the wolves and with little or no chance to regain employment in the public sector, even when they had, as I say, made their previous employment and credentials and qualifications available on the application forms for those particular jobs. From the recommendation number 7 of the committee, with regard to the Statutory Authorities Review Committee review, the Parliament's progress on implementing the suggested recommendations of the other 6 recommendations in 12 months from the time of this report were presented to Parliament, and to my recollection, the 16th of October 1920. Now, I know it's going back a fair while, but in my view, and the people that are still bringing this to my attention, they've had no communication or any assistance. Since this committee, I have had numerous calls from the previously employed sheriffs who were there at the time, where they appear to have not been able to have any closures on their actions and the results both financially and emotionally. Even with those who might have survived that period and continue to have their employment intact, still on occasions come to me with their concerns as to the behaviour of some of the management who still appear to not be able to have a good working relationship, having to dread the aspect of going to their jobs every day, even though these people involved are passionate about what they do and they're very experienced and passionate about what their jobs are. During the discussions prior to the committee being formed, there were several anecdotal statements that unfortunately there are over a couple of suicides, and in a few cases, those who were involved had to be on constant medication, and to my information, they are still on their medication. As I say, this is now 6 years ago, and I know of 3 people who are still on medication because of the trauma they occurred during their period with the Sheriff's Office. From information that there seems to have gone for those involved, the financial costs for medical treatment and the required medication is a tremendous burden on their lives as they, in their words, were not able to receive work cover entitlements, which they believe they would be able to do. This is an issue. A lot of these people have struggled now. They're still on medication, and that medication is very expensive. And so therefore, at the end of the day, is they were refused or declined any work cover assistance. The reason for this motion, which we are discussing today, is that there have been several previously employed persons by the Courts Authority who have not been communicated with any explanations, and this, together with the comments from existing employees, resulted in this motion coming forward. Whilst when I inquire as to those who have been employed, why they have not brought their concerns to the relevant managers, because this, to my information, some of this behaviour issues that were being dealt with by the Select Committee are still being occurred even with some of the existing people at the time are still in positions there. But to my information also, the other issue is that some of the managers still have not been able to understand, have a good working relationship with those sheriffs that are on the floor of the Courts Authority. As I said, when I inquire about these still being employed, while they have not brought their concerns to their relevant management, they feel that the atmosphere, etc., has not improved, and in their words, it is becoming worse. It appears that the same behaviour could still be happening within the Courts Authority. Another reason is that they saw what happened to those who brought their concerns to the relevant management that 5 or 6 years ago to management levels. And the result is where they, at that particular time, plus the resultant situations where some of the management involved prior to this committee being formed, they are still or have been promoted to their higher positions within some government agencies. I appreciate the great work that the committee carried out. However, due to the number of persons still involved that are still concerned about the lack of the awareness and being brought forward, and any change to the Courts Authority's systems, and the lack of direct communications to those who have lost their jobs and in many cases their future. Madam Speaker, I know I tried to bring this up in the last Parliament, but we ran out of time. And as people know, we have a time frame for various situations within this Parliament, which is fine. I didn't have the opportunity to actually bring it to the Parliament's attention, but I do thank the government and I thank the opposition, the Liberal Party opposition, for allowing me to go from number 2 to number 1. One of the concerns that I have is these people that are still out there, they have not recovered. They appear to have no communication as to the reasons why they, as whistleblowers, brought this to the attention of their management. In my estimation, if you've got a concern in your workplace, and you should be able to bring that to the management of that particular organisation, whether it's government or whether it's private, without any fear of retaliation. It appears in this case, even after all these years, there are still people out there that may not have had adequate communication or some sort of compensation for their future direction. And in some of these cases here, and I know quite a few of these people, I've spoken to them, I don't believe their future is going to be very good because of their health and well-being, the mental health and well-being, and the financial challenges they've had just to keep going. So again, Madam Speaker, I commend this notice of motion to the House and look forward to some sort of resolution from the Minister in the other place.
Member for Badcote.